Alright, so my name is Dmetreus. Also,
Stefanie.
this is my real wife. I go by NYTheDMV on Instagram, or you can just look me up as Dmetreus Park on Facebook. Don't stop me. So, as I said many times, and I've seen it to other things, first I'm going to shout out my man's Randy Bruce and BruceTV for the shout out and even the offer for me to even do a video to hit YouTube, so thanks to man for that. Alright, so let's get straight to the point. Alright, so I don't know what happened to this, as I called it, new generation of relationships, but things become this thing where people are sticking in relationships for all the wrong reasons. Because it makes more sense now to just have a title than it is to have somebody to be with. And it's crazy, because you've seen people 5 or 6 years together with a motherfucker they can't stand. They hate each other to the core, but they won't break up because they don't want to sacrifice being looking or go through the troubles of being treated like crap. It's all kinds of crazy shit to go through it. But the major question that always hits my head is, what are you willing to sacrifice just somebody at home? Like, what is the major thing in your head that goes through when the wheels start turning to be like, oh yeah, you know, they treat me like crap, but it's okay because I can be like, I got a boo at home, so you don't know what it's like. But you cry to your best friend that night on the phone because that man don't want to come to the house to see you or make time for you. Or you a grown ass man chasing this bride that's entertaining 6 other niggas, and you like, but that's my girl though. She loved me. That's my heart. Like, when did this become a fucking thing now? And it's even more sad for the fact that I know people on personal levels who do this shit every day. People who've made these decisions for the past 2 and 3 years of their life to be with a motherfucker who won't make time out of his day to call you, but that's your man. They won't text you to see how your day's going, but that's your girl. So, because I know the internet goes bananas whenever a dude makes these videos, I brought my wife in to have a female perspective. Because for some odd fucking reason, if a guy makes a video seeing 2 sides of a story, he must either be gay or crazy. So, let's see how it goes. Alright, as we all know, everyone makes their terrible decisions when it comes to a relationship. It's just how shit happens. Sometimes you make a fuck up and you're like, damn, I should have learned from that. But you don't. You get in this fucking perpetual habit of saying, oh, the next one will be different, or I can change him, or this other thing. Look, unless that motherfucker wearing diapers and came out your vagina, it ain't a baby, you can't change that motherfucker. He ain't gonna learn. It's just how it is. But I know how I'll see it. So I'm gonna add this perspective for how females see it. Being in a situation where you with somebody, but that motherfucker don't do the things that make it a relationship.
I mean, personally, I never really got the concept of it either. At first, I mean, don't get me wrong, I actually was in that situation. I'll admit that right now. I was actually with a guy who, one, I thought that I was going to have, like, the rest of my life with and everything. I was like, oh, yeah, we could have a family, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. Mind you, he moved in with me, and this is when I was still with my parents. So it was like, I gave him everything. And mind you, this is, like, in the first few weeks of the relationship. It wasn't like 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, 4. No, it was like legit the first few weeks. And I was like giving everything. I'm talking about like from like a like materialistic perspective to an emotional perspective. Like I was giving my all because, you know, like almost every other young-minded chick, what are they looking for? They're looking for someone who will care for them or, you know, will just like love them and cater to them as they cater to them, right? Per se. So I thought that, I guess like after the whole like spoiling process went through, because the fact that he knew that, okay, well, if I go out and do something, she's not going to be comfortable with it, right? So instead it's like a negotiation. Okay, well, we do this, that, and the third, but I can do this if you can do that. You know what I mean? So let's say, for instance, like, okay, well, if he goes out to a party, you know, that means that, like, okay, well, you have to do, like, such and such thing for me if you don't want me to go out. Because, like, if he wants to go out to a party, but I'm not too into, like, a certain thing that he wants to do for sex, it's like a negotiation, and that's where it'll mess you up. So that's one of the biggest things that I see in a lot of relationships now is they're giving too much in the beginning instead of like gradually getting into it and, you know, getting the flow of things and actually getting to know that person instead of like, you know, oh, well, I'm going to do this, do that.
I've seen a lot more with this thing of justification. Like, when for some odd reason, when both of you guys are doing wrong or they're doing wrong, you justify why it was okay for him to do that. And I've seen it more so in worse and worse in females than I do in dudes. And I've seen it to the point where I've seen a chick get treated like crap by a guy and be with this dude, call him, tell him how you love him, but they together, they out in public like these niggas like this. There's no in between, there's nothing else. But every time anybody asks if she's okay, she'll make a justification for why he acted like that. It's always an excuse for why he couldn't be the man he supposedly shows you behind doors, but in public, you more like a trophy to this nigga than a fucking female.
I don't know. I mean, it was more of when it came to us being in public. I'm the clingy type. I'm gonna admit that right now. Obviously, you know that I'm the clingy type, but him on the other hand, he was just like, you know, yo, like why you holding me too tight, or why you doing this, why you doing that. It's just like, you know, he liked the clinginess, but to a degree. Like then he'll just like, you know, be a little bit more like, you know, we can be a little bit less, you know. And mind you, I mean, I like to show affection, but I guess I was pushing it too hard. But mind you, every single time, like I held this guy up so high on a pedestal. Like every single time, like I talk to my friends and whatnot, I'll be like, no, he's a great guy. You know, he doesn't cheat. He treats me well. You know, the family already met me. Blah blah blah. This blah blah that. They love me. He loves me. You know, he's got me this. He's got me that. Now, mind you, at the time, I was like, okay, well, materialistic things can show, you know, how much he truly cares about you. But after that, I clearly realized, like, you know, that's not all it takes. So clearly it was just like the emotion was really one-sided. At first it wasn't, but you know, it later on became more of like I was the one who was putting everything and he wasn't. But every single time we got into an argument, I was that person who put my social media, like who put my personal life on social media. Learned true lesson from that too.
That's another issue on its own, because if you're supposedly happy, why force the social media to share your information? Like, it's an outlet, yes, it's supposed to be this amazing fucking thing bringing people together, but if you go to the social media to post about what your boyfriend doing wrong, you only telling these second round pick niggas that, alright, cool, I know what not to do.
So
you playing a draft game and these motherfuckers like, oh, first round I fucked up. You know what that means? I'm about to slide in these DMs.
So therefore, that already put me in the wrong, but also it put him on, like, my friends are looking at him like, yo, like, what just happened? You know, this, that, and the third. Like, I thought he was, you know, he was this great guy, woo, woo, but then come to realize he was actually a piece of shit. And, you know, I mean, mind you, I have started arguments, he started arguments, but, you know, the fact of the matter is, like, you know, one person can stop an escalation. You know what I mean? So if I tried to stop it, it would just, the instigation was just going on.
Yeah. So
I did not like that. And you know how I am. Like, if I'm pushed, I'm gonna push back. So I don't know. It was one of those things where it's just, you know, it's good that I actually got out and I actually, you know, gave myself that time to grow. But while I was in that time frame where I was single, of course, I, like, you know, every other single person, once you get out of a relationship and you gave yourself that time, like, okay, let me go back out there, you know, dated, I talked to a couple people, like, I talked to, you know, guys and everything, this, that, and the third, I had my fun, but in the end, is like, you know, alright, these are the people that I do not want, alright, this is not what I'm looking for, this is not what I need, this is definitely not what I need, I want someone who will, you know, who I can have fun with, who can be my best friend, but at the same time, I need someone who will motivate me and support me and, you know, just, like, push me to become that better person that I want to become. Like, I already have that goal, But you have your days where it's just like, you don't want to even do it. You just want to just screw it all and just stay there. So, you know you're not with the right one if they're just going to let you stay there. If you are completely satisfied with being, like, completely stagnant there, and they're okay with that, no, because you set that goal up, and you told them about this goal, so what you ask from them is for your support, right? So what are you going to do? When they want to sit down and not do anything, you're going to get them and be like, no, you want to do this and you want to do that. This is your dream, right? Get up. Do you. Like, get up. Get out the bed. Get ready. Go do something with yourself. Go to school. Go to work. Do something. Don't just sit there and be okay with where you're at and become complacent.
I always say complacent kills. Especially when it comes to relationships. But so after the process of you sitting there and you're making your excuses and you're doing everything else to figure out why you're staying, I noticed the what ifs will probably be the biggest drag to your relationship, because now you're gonna hit a point where you're not worried about what people say, because after your what ifs and now you see the truth, you don't hit the lies, you start making your bullshit stories up for why it was okay. When you get to your what ifs, you're already at the point where there's no return.
Yeah.
You've hit your downfall of this relationship. But I've still seen people stick with somebody who couldn't hold these motherfuckers in water.
Yeah.
Like, it's like these motherfuckers that have your back from the wall, behind the wall, because you don't need that support. You got this. You can stand up.
It's like, you good.
Yeah. But I never understood, why is it you would sacrifice so much just to say a person's there for you and not have that kind of thing? Because at the end of the day, if I can't come home and be like, alright, cool, I'm happy here, we've built this, we're coming together, we made our relationship. If I can't come home and see you and even think, oh man, we in a happy ass relationship, we don't got no problem, nothing else, then I'm trying to figure out why you sitting there killing yourself for a person who not gonna have your back. Why would you bend yourself over backwards, breaking your back to put the weight of that person's ego on you? Because now you done gave them everything in relationships. Because prior to what Tyler Perry told you with that 80-20 bullshit, or what you hear in R&B songs about 50-50, that is not how it works.
No.
If two people ain't giving everything they got to each other, you ain't gonna never last. You're building yourself to fall.
I remember, like, I'm always on my phone. Always on Facebook, always on Instagram. Some type of social media. But one of the pages that I follow, it was a Young Black and Married. They had this thing, and it really did stick to me, and it still sticks to me to this day, and it's very true, and I'm going to stick to it to the end. Every relationship is not a 50-50. It's not just like, okay, you give, I give, you take. No. It's not like, one receives more than the other, one gives more than the other. What a relationship really is, what a real, true, strong relationship is, whether it's, boyfriend, girlfriend, whether it's like being married or being engaged, either way, a relationship is a give and take thing. 100% give and 100% take on both sides. You can't have like, okay, well, he's gonna do cleaning, he's gonna take the kids out, he's gonna do this, that, and the third. Okay, I do, maybe like a day grocery shopping, and then like I'll do cleaning maybe one day, and then, I sit on my ass for the rest of the night. No. You're doing more. You're contributing more, and I'm sitting there just taking it. And that's not a happy relationship. Now it's a different story when, one person is actually, let's say for instance, one person's working, and you're over here, you're sitting there, you're looking for a job. You're trying to get on your feet, you're trying to do your own so you can do your half of contributing, whether it's financially, whether it's, like, look, I want to get the groceries, I want to pay this bill, I want to pay that bill. If you're not able to do it financially, at least be there for your significant other emotionally and physically. And you can take that physical, like, like whether it's sexually or just, just intimacy. Pillow talk is very, very important. Y'all don't even have to talk. Y'all can just sit there and lay there and just stare at each other, looking all goo-goo-eyed at each other and be like, you know what? I love you so much. Love you. But It's not, okay, well, I'm going to give one day and then I'm going to take one day. No, you both have to give and you both have to take 100% all the way. Because how is that going to look to the kids when all they see is like, okay, one parent doing this and one parent doing that? It's not going to look good.
Yeah, fuck no.
And then when they get into a relationship, it's like, oh, okay, well, cool. This is what my parents are doing. This is what I learned. This is the typical norm for me. Okay, I do all the receiving and you can just do all the giving. It's not like that. So every relationship is 100% give and 100% take. There's no like days off. You have, it's commitment.
Very true. So on the note, I'd like to share something that a friend of mine sent me earlier this morning that must have been perfect for what took place for the video. Alright, so it reads, if a man doesn't call you, it's because he doesn't want to call you. If he doesn't invite you to go out, it's because he doesn't want to see you. If he treats you like shit, it's because he doesn't care. If he lets you go, it's because he didn't want you. When a man says, if I'm not ready, but you are in love with him, it means he only wanted you for a certain amount of time. It's simple to break down all these situation things and be like, oh yeah, you still love him and everything else, but at the end of the day, that won't work. Don't sit there and play confusing games with anybody, whether it's man or female. Don't justify him or her when they start to come out or anything else, and don't sit there and play with their lies. There's no excuse for anything they're doing to break you down or feel as if you're not who you're supposed to be. Don't be genuine and naive, and stop justifying every excuse and complications to put yourself first. You don't need someone that doesn't know what they want. You do not need someone that doesn't see your worth. You deserve a person that knows your worth and fights for you every day. Stop breaking your own heart for someone who probably won't even be as good as you expect. And give yourself an opportunity to be happy with someone you actually deserve to be with. As I've said before, and it's very rare because apparently people don't listen to me, never ever let anything from your heart go unsaid. If you're with somebody and they truly love you, they're going to listen to you whether it's good or bad news. Because at the end of the day, that person's supposed to support you from the ground up. And if you can't come to them and tell them the truth, or you can't sit there and hold what's supposed to be a relationship because you done did this or they done did that, you're playing tit for tat for each other, you're going to build a wall around yourself that's going to end up closing your heart and ruining yourself. Because you're either going to live your life thinking every person gonna be the same and all niggas is this and all bitches is this, blah blah blah. In all actuality, one of the biggest issues is probably you still dating your ex. Like, you done learned how to not be with his particular assholeness, but you ain't stopped dating that same guy. You'll take smaller hints from him that you liked and what you didn't like. You'll move it to your next person. And you're going to just keep comparing everybody to that one dude until you fall, or you're going to keep making these ridiculous comparisons till you have this outlandish fucking view on men, and then you'll be like, that nigga ain't shit, all niggas ain't shit. Then you'll be that bitch at home with misery loves company, sipping wine and complaining about how you couldn't find no man with your life, because they all gay or ain't doing anything, they ain't shit.
And you're going to end up like that best friend who's going to be talking to her best friend on the phone. And then when she calls you and ask you, like, okay, well, such and such is doing this. What should I do? And you give some miserable advice because you're sad and bitter. You need to, like, whatever that has not been, like, that has not been finished. Like, if you have unfinished business emotionally, you need that, like, completely done. You need to like go back and get closure. You need to close that book. It can be good, it can be bad. Either way, you can't just sit there with this what if in your head and, just be like, oh, well, what if I was just with this guy? Or what if I did this? What if I did that? Or maybe it could have ended up differently. No, you need to get that closure. Because you're not going to be happy until you get that closure.
So, before I get wide into a rant, I'll say this for another video. I'll end this video with this. But if you're truly a good person to your core, down to your soul and your heart, yes, we have all made mistakes. We've all had slip-ups and we all do this and that. But do not, and I say this for real, do not spend your life with a person who doesn't know your worth. It is not worth that time you cannot get back. And we don't always have tomorrow. So, for anybody that listens, and if you take anything from this video, even if you say I'm an asshole and you don't like me, I really don't care. But if you take anything from the video, take into effect of knowing your true self-worth and realizing that not always having a title or being with somebody will make you happy. Because there are plenty of people in this world who didn't find out who they really truly love till it was too late to get that person. And some of us don't, like I said, don't have tomorrow. You don't want to wake up tomorrow and be in your fucking 40s and 50s with a motherfucker you can't stand. And y'all was supposed to be in love. Because then you gonna sit back, you don't have a crisis with your life in your mind and be like, damn, where did that time go? But with all being said, I hope you guys liked the video. You can hit me up on Instagram in my DMs for questions you might want to ask, or anything you would like me to put into another video. The Instagram is NY2DMV. I might be changing that. So as always, I'm Dmetreus. This is my wife Stefanie.
Hi.
And shout out again to BruceTV for the video. Have a good night.